Harking back to the sounds of mammoth rack units, the brand new MXR Joshua Ambient Echo packs an absolute ton of features into its relatively small package. Let's check it out. No strangers to the delay game, especially with their incredibly popular carbon copy analog delay. MXR are back with potentially another game changer when it comes to super expressive delay pedals. As I mentioned, this little guy has a ton of features in it, so let's not waste any more time. Today, I'm using my Fender JV modified 60s Tele, running through a Supro Blackmagic combo, and that's mic'd up with two microphones, an SM57 and an SM27. The Joshua on the surface is a relatively easy pedal to get your head around just when looking at the controls. All the parameters are very clearly marked, so you can change all those settings with ease just right on the surface without having to go through any menus. Anyone familiar with MXR pedals, especially the carbon copy, will recognise a few of the controls on this. We have the delay time, we have the regen / feedback, and we have the mix for the main delay. A little bit more on that in just a bit. The modulation control right here will control the amount of modulation that is added to your delay. So all the way to the left counterclockwise is off. And then gradually, as you start increasing that, it will add more modulation to your delay, so it gets quite dreamy. Or all the way clockwise there, you can get to seasick territory. Right beside that we have the voice knob. What that will do is it will actually add a -1, a +1 and a +2 octave to your delay signal. So all the way off is just your standard delay. Then as you gradually bring that in, it will add the octave to your signal. The division knob here is also a really handy feature with the Joshua. What that will actually do is we'll control the note division of the main delay. We've got the options of a quarter note, a dotted eighth, an eighth note, an 8-note triplet, and one of my favourite delay sounds, a double delay with an eighth note and a dotted eighth note. Finally, for the surface of the pedal, we have these two buttons right at the top. Starting with the trails option there, that's relatively simple to get your head around. Basically, when it's off, when you deactivate the pedal by pressing the bypass switch here, any delay will completely just stop once you've pressed that. Whereas when it's activated and the red button, the red LED is flashing there, when you press the bypass, your delay will continue. So this is really handy for anybody who wants those repeats, just to keep going even when you press the stop. The Echo 2 button here is exactly how it sounds also. What it will do is it will add an extra delay onto your delay so you can create some really cool sounds. It is by default set to a quarter note, but you can actually change this by pressing and holding Echo 2 and then turning the division knob to whichever note division that you want. Again, giving you kind of a really good flexibility for getting your own sound. Before I jump into a bunch of sounds that I find really cool with this pedal, I just want to run over a couple of advanced options. Now, these aren't essential when it comes to using this pedal, but I think a few players will probably get quite a lot out of these options, especially if you do want to expand what you can do with the pedal. First is one of the easier options, and that is the onboard tap tempo. All you need to do is press and hold the bypass until it starts flashing. You can then set that to whatever you want, depending on the tempo of the song. The tap tempo can also be controlled by an independent foot switch, which you can connect just via this output jack here. Set the little button slider over to tap an expression, connect up another foot switch to the side, and that will act as an independent tap tempo. You can also hook up an expression pedal to this output as well, which has quite a cool mode to it where you can set one delay sound to your heel position. Then if you move it forward, change the knobs to a completely different delay sound. You can go between the two of those just with an expression pedal. Circling back to when you have the additional tap tempo control on this side, this pedal actually has the ability to be able to freeze a note or a chord or anything. Unfortunately, I can't show it because I don't have the other foot switch I need, but if you do have your tap tempo button just on the side, essentially what you do is you hit a note or you hit a chord, you press and hold that, and it will just infinitely sustain whatever you just played, meaning that you can solo over it or just to create some really cool soundscape sort of sound. This pedal can also be used in stereo for any players who may want to do that. Now, there is a couple of ways that you can activate that. The first one being if you have a split TRS cable just coming out your output here, you can press and hold Echo 2, and if you turn the voice knob all the way to the right clockwise, that will activate stereo mode, and then if you press and hold it, move it back to the 0 position or counterclockwise, that will put you back into mono mode. Now the other option, and personally the one I would be using, would be the little side jack again here. If you slide that button down to the audio tab there, that'll then turn this just into a regular stereo output, and it means you can hook it up to another amp. Now there's actually quite a few additional advanced settings that you can get to and you can start messing about with, but MXR actually do recommend that you just leave them as is unless you really know what you're doing or what you want to adjust, as it can alter the whole sound of the pedal. These are done by pressing and holding either the Echo 2 or the Trails button and adjusting any of the parameter knobs. We've already touched on how if you hold Echo 2 and move the division knob there, that will change the division of the note of the second echo, but there are a few other things that you can do also. You can change things like the modulation rate, the mix of the second delay when active, and the rate in which each delay will fade out. Again, only jump into these if you really know what you want to change. Worst comes to worst though, if you do need to reset it back to factory mode, just press and hold both the buttons there for 5 seconds until they start to flash. Easy as that. That's us back to factory mode. Right, now that that's all out the way, let's jump into a few sounds that I really liked when using this pedal. So hopefully I was able to show you some of the amazing sounds that you can get out of the Joshua Echo. Now there is a lot of options obviously to be able to tweak, and even just some of the settings depending on how you set them. You will get completely different sounds to what I got today. So why don't you let me know down in the comments what you would be using the Joshua for, and while you're there, give us a like, give us a subscribe. You know how this works on YouTube. But until next time, I've been Kieran, and this has been the brand new MXR Joshua Ambient Echo. Have a great day.